There's something really profound to me about caterpillars, and the ones that I like to focus on are the monarch caterpillars, and just their process of going from caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly. So I'm going to describe that in a little bit of detail, and then I'm going to read you a journal article and then reflect on that. So the caterpillar, it eats, it sheds, and when it sheds, it comes out again in a slightly different stripe pattern. So monarch nerds can kind of look at a caterpillar and tell you how many times it has shed, how many more cycles of eating and shedding it has before it's gonna go climb on the top, like this one is right here, and do what's called a J hang. And that's when they hang from their butt in the shape of a J, and they just stay there for a bit until they literally shed their skin, and what emerges from underneath their skin is a chrysalis. So they don't actually spin the chrysalis around them. They are the chrysalis within their skin. They actually shed their skin off and become a chrysalis. And then they stay in that chrysalis for several days, and the chrysalis is green. At least you think it is. It's actually them that is green. They turn into this green liquid within the chrysalis. They fully liquefy within there, other than like their brain and whatever like vessels are channeling all the hormones that are changing them. And they just stay in that chrysalis as this green liquid, and then eventually the chrysalis starts to turn from green to black, and then the day that it is black, they emerge. The chrysalis cracks open and out comes a monarch, and it is just amazing. And the cool thing is, all that's left behind is this shell of what used to be the chrysalis, the home of this caterpillar. And so this little tiny creature undergoes such an incredible transformation, and there's just so many really cool applications to life with this. So anyway, I'm going to read you my journal article from June 25th, 2023. And it was the day after I sliced open one of my fingers, so you'll have to bear with the first paragraph. Here you go. You can see a little J hanging caterpillar right there. Okay, June 25th, 2023. I have to type without my fourth finger for a little while. It's messing with my flow a little bit. I cut my fourth finger cutting carrots a couple of days ago, and I've been fascinated to watch it heal, marveling at my body's ability to create new skin, to clot blood, to push out infected tissue. It's all quite marvelous. It's pretty fantastic that our higher power created us as healing beings and not deteriorating ones. What if that is just simply true? We see aging as decaying sometimes, but what if it isn't? Aren't we all really just pining for the eternity we get to spend with our higher power? What if our bodies are fading because our souls are suddenly shining stronger? What if our energy and our life flow that we have built up over our lifetime is simply bowing and taking a back seat to the incredible soul that has emerged within us? What if death is simply us shedding our skin like a caterpillar does as it grows bigger? What if death is the chrysalis? We literally shed our being and we liquefy within our souls. We slumber, we transform into our heavenly selves, and yet we are the same essentially. Did you know that there are studies that show butterflies remember smells from their caterpillar days? Despite being fully liquefied in the chrysalis, it's the same being. Wow, I was not planning to talk about death at all in this journal. So centered too. I don't think I can bring up anyone in my mind who is dying right now, but these are certainly words of comfort. What if the aging of my skin is an integral part of growing and maturing what is within? What if shedding my earthly skin is actually the transformative step to becoming who my higher power truly made me to be? And just like everything the caterpillar does matters to its chrysalis actually producing a butterfly, so too do the things that I do here in my earthly body. They matter. My fuel source matters. I need to consume my higher power. I need to be enraptured with him fully. And then when my higher power signals me to go away from my life's work and feel the random urge to string myself upside down by my butt and J-hang for a while, I can trust that he is working within me in marvelous ways. Suddenly, I shed off everything I've ever known and I rest in him. I rest until he calls me forth and I emerge brand new, like a baby from the womb, and yet I am emerging in my most full, mature self as the most heavenly perfected version of myself that God designed in the first place. Wow. I guess these words needed to be written. I've been feeling a little bit of guilt around my spiritual practices lately because they haven't been as deep as they sometimes are. But my ability to learn and explore through nature has been really deep. I've been stopping to marvel at the poplar fluff, to see the leaves on the trees and be able to tell when they're thirsty or satisfied, noticing the sounds of the wind in them, paying attention to the sunsets and sunrises, pausing to see the cloud formations, noticing the tiny insects in my garden, even marveling at where the weeds choose to grow. Even weeds know where they ought to be planted, hey? Even a fool can tell a good life source when they experience it. The analogies and life-giving tangibility of my spiritual practice these days has been so rich. So there is really nothing to feel guilty for. This is a season where my child self is dancing in the garden of my higher power. With delight and pleasure, my higher power is showing me their wonders. Their wonders are great and sometimes microscopic. I don't need my higher power to move a mountain. I will just watch my higher power as he paints the masterpiece that is his creation all around me, and I will choose gratitude. And so that's the end of my journal writing, but it's not really the end of the thought process because there's just so much depth and layers to these tiny little creatures that my creator has created for me to just marvel in. And so I think about the transformative journey I've had with Bright Line Eating and my sobriety journey. I think of how that's enabled me to awaken in a way I never have been before. And this awakening has made me so much more aware of my spiritual practices, of my spiritual journey. And quite honestly, sometimes it really feels like my higher power is drawing me away from everything I know, just like that little caterpillar eventually gets this urge to leave the milkweed and go as far away as possible and string itself upside down by its butt. And it just makes no sense, but it's what it's being called to do, and it trusts its higher power, even though everything it knows liquefies into nothing. And that's what I have to do in order to emerge on the other side as this incredible new being that has transformed. And so right now I choose to trust. I choose to trust my higher power, that my higher power has a plan, even when it seems like everything is changing around me and I don't even know which way's up anymore. I'm gonna trust. And I know that everything I feel like I'm leaving behind is actually absolutely nothing at all. It is just the shell, because everything that matters is who I am. I don't have to be afraid of the transformative power of my sobriety journey. I can leave the shells behind. They're just garbage. There's literally nothing there because everything that matters is already within me.